to do is I want to share a few words, just in terms of getting a bit of a vocab going, okay? And then that might help some people who are like, oh yeah, I've heard these words before, or no, I've never heard them, so thank goodness you actually mentioned what they are. So, some of the words are words like this. Whānau, always with macron. Hapu, always with macron. Iwi, no macrons. Whānau, hapu, iwi. Ranga tira, is my writing quick enough?
Yeah.
And then also ranga tira tanga, which is an extension. Ranga tira tanga. What are some other words? Whenua. Kawana. Tanga. Any other words, treaty related words that you might suggest that I put up on the board here? You might actually want to shift your couch that way, I think. I'm going to see the back of me a little bit. Yeah, it's my last day. Yeah. Okay, any other treaty related words that you might want to add? Yeah.
Kotahitanga.
Thank you. Yeah. Kotahitanga. And as other ones come up, I'll add them on here, but I just wanted to start with at least some kind of vocab. So, whenua, there's a couple of different meanings of this. What do you think some of the meanings are of this word whenua?
Land.
Yes. When was the last time you said the word whenua? Mangarongo ki te whenua. Yeah. So that was cool. What's the other word? Whenua. In terms of Māori ways of seeing the world and meanings of the word whenua.
What, like tangata whenua?
Yes, that's true. And then, so that's people of the land.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one of those phrases I was forgetting and wanting to put up here. Tangata whenua. So it's people of the land, people whose mana comes from their relationship with the land. There's another meaning for the word whenua, and it has to do with childbirth.
Papatuanaku? As in the mother of, is it?
Yeah, so papatuanaku, and what goes back into papatuanaku when a baby is born?
Goes into the ground.
The whenua is the name for the placenta.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Goes into the ground.
So this word is both land, and it's also about what is the purpose of the placenta? Those of you who've had children.
Nourish, yeah, feeds the baby.
Nourishment. What is the relationship with papatuanaku? Nourishment. And so there's a sense in which there's a reciprocal relationship between whenua and people, whenua and what is produced. There's two meanings to this word too. Whānau, how would you describe that word in English, Sean? Yes, it's just making sure. Cool. And does it have a macron? How, oh, really? Cool. Okay. See this line above the A? That is a macron.
Okay.
It's tohu toa or pōtai, meaning hat. And what it does is elongates things from a to a. So instead of whānau, it's whānau. Ah. So what's another one? Ngā mihi, which you sign all the time on your emails probably. If you didn't have a macron, it would be ngā mihi, but when you have a macron, it's ngā mihi. Ngā mihi. It elongates the word, so instead of just an a, e, I, o, u, a, e, I, o, u. If you're in Waikato though, Tainui, probably get the double vowels instead because they prefer not to use the macron, they have their own way. So they would spell whānau like this, often. Not always, but often. Anytime you see a double A, unless it's two words being brought together, then it's the same kind of function as this. But the national sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, Lord? There's like a set of guidelines in terms of writing, and these are what has been adopted and suggested by Te Tairawhiti, was to use macrons, unless you prefer to use these because you're from there or you're working in that area and that's what's preferred. Kei te pai? Well, that means, is that okay? Aye. Cool, so we've got macrons. So when should the word whānau, when it's written, have a macron?
Above the first one?
Yeah, and how often should it have that?
Always.
Always. When? Always. A plus. So whānau always has macron over the A. So it does mean family. What kind of family? What are we describing when we talk about whānau? Is it the same as two parents and, their children and the dog?
Doesn't it include like extended and cousins and aunties and even like close family friends can be whānau?
Yeah. So whānau is a much wider, broader meaning than what you may be accustomed to in terms of this is my family. Usually you mean very close relations. So whānau can be whānau kaupapa, we're doing this together as a whānau on the same kaupapa, even though you're not blood related, or whānau toto, which means you have a blood connection. Just a quick intro to that word. And then there's another way that word is used, and again it has to do with babies coming into the world. That's a hint. What does that word mean, whānau? So if I said, I whānau mai ahau, it means I was
Born.
Yeah, so whānau doesn't just mean family, it means to be born. Beautiful, eh? So there's double meanings on each one of these words, and what they're telling you is that this is relationship with the world, with the environment, with the creation. They're not just objects, they're actually relationships. Hapu, the emphasis is on the second syllable with the macron on the top. It's a bit floaty, that one. Needs its eyebrows plucked down a bit. But hapu, what does that word generally refer to? There's two meanings. When I'm talking about groups of people, does anyone know what that might refer to?
I don't know if I've got the right one, but does hapu mean pregnant?
I thought happy meant
Yes.
pregnant. Yeah.
Hapu does mean pregnant. Hapu and hapu, the other meaning of it is a whole lot of whānau groupings, kinship ties together, would be called a hapu. Some people would refer to it as a sub-tribe. Some people would say, never use the word sub-tribe, so it depends who you're speaking to as to how you might describe it, but sub-tribe is probably an easy way for you to understand. And the next one down, hinty hint, if there's a sub-tribe there must also be a
Tribe.
Yeah, so that is the word iwi, which also has another meaning. Anyone know what iwi, another connection to that word?
Small, is it? Look.
It is to do with them.
Tribe.
Yeah, it's to do with, it is tribe and it's about bones, koiwi. And so again, that double meaning, everything is to do with the tinana, birth, relationship. So you have tribe in that sense, but also bones, our own bones. So there's layers to these words. Incidentally, this is a picture of, you'd never guess where and why. I didn't go to art school.
Love it.
Sorry. So, all around the country, when different waka came at different times, they all didn't like, sink your watches, let's all go now. Migration of seven waka. No, that did not happen. Everyone came at different places from different places, right? So different Pacific nations, islands, they came from different places at different periods of time, landed in different places. So, because they didn't all just arrive at the same time, like a big convoy, they all came into different parts of the country, settled into different parts of the country, and all had different, were all different hapu, different iwi, collections of people with usually one eponymous ancestor, and they all came from different places, which is why they've all got slightly different dialects and stories and things that they've carried, people have carried here. And so in a way you would actually describe an iwi as a nation, or hapu as a nation, its own nation. So most people think of New Zealand as a nation, but Māori think of Te Raroa as its own little nation. and Te Arawa is another nation, and Ngāti Parau and Ngāti Kahungunu are all different nations in the same way as the United Nations. If you ever told a Scottish person that they were the same as English people, or Irish people that they're the same as English, you're in big trouble. Okay, it's the same here. Māori are not all the same. And so we have this word Māori. Here's another word for you. There's Māori. How often should Māori have a macron over the A? Okay, so what's the difference between these two words? It's real easy.
One small, one big.
Yeah, one capital and one little case.
Oh.
That's what you meant? Yeah.
That's
Small and
exactly
big.
what I mean.
Flash words I'm throwing around up here. Okay, capital, not a capital. So when you think about grammar rules, this tells you that there's something about this which is like a proper noun, and it means it's describing something that deserves a capital. In this case, this word here, Māori, just means ordinary, normal, native, untainted. This here is Y. Y means water, but this particular Y is Y Māori. Why do I say it's Y Māori, Alan? Why do I say it's Y Māori? What is it, can you see anything added to this drink in here? Any orange, brown, pure, there we go. So it's had nothing else added, and that's why.
That's why I'm drinking it.
There we go.
Unadulterated.
Unadulterated. Yes. So this word here means unadulterated, pure, ordinary, no additives, nothing added to it. Okay, so imagine a whole lot of people come from England or wherever, and they're like, where are you guys from? We're just from here, we're just ordinary, native, normal, adulterated. We're just from here. It's ordinary. It's just normal, ordinary. We're the normal people that are usually always here. That kind of kōrero. But it's been capitalised to name all people that were already here as one homogenous group. Check that flash word out. Homogenous group, as if we were all the same. And in some ways it's taken away from the uniqueness that many people know, that each iwi is different. They have their own ways, their own different things. You can go up to a marae up north, many marae in a karanga, haere maira ki ngā, you know, on the marae at night time. You go anywhere else and try that, ooh, big trouble. So different. And everyone has the authority to make those calls themselves. Why? Because these people are these people. They're not from here, so these people look after themselves. These people look after themselves. These people look after themselves. Why? Because they're their own nations. That will become important later. See, cool drawing. So Māori. Ooh, this is a good one. Rangatira. Anyone know what that word means? Chief. Yes, correct. Chief. And so this word here, tanga, is kind of like the word, the suffix ship. If I was to talk about, say, leader, the leader is the person. Ship makes it into whatever you call that, that notion of what's associated with a leader. So leadership. Tanga has the same kind of effect in grammar or in that ship does in English. Tanga does in Māori. So rangatira, yep, sure, chief, a particular type of leader, but you can break these words down even more. Steve, ranga, ranga, he te ka.
Like to bring together, weave, come together.
Yeah, so somebody who likes to weave flax, likes to do rāranga, right? Rāranga is about weaving, but it's also about the mahi, the work of weaving people together. And this is what the second word is here, tira, which is a group of people. So rangatira, the work of a chief, is not about being cool, it's about the skill of being able to bring people together and lead by including their ideas, their whakaaro, their thoughts. So rangatira tanga is about leadership, chieftainship, all of those sorts of things. It's about the freedom to make decisions. And then this one here, kawanatanga. Kawana. Anyone know what that word is? It's a transliteration of another word. What was Pontius Pilate's role? He was the
Emperor?
who?
The emperor? Pontius
Another one close. It has right at the end.
Governor.
Governor. So if we put that here and we think, oh, actually in Māori you can't say g or the, so what's the closest transliteration we can find to say that word? Governor, kawana. So kawana. Governor. So what is governortanga?
governorship.
Yeah, governorship or governance, right? It's giving direction, but you don't own, or you're not the ultimate, you just have a responsibility. Okay? So that kawanatanga. And then the last one, oh, what can you recognise for those of you where before tonight you really weren't kind of familiar with too many Māori words? What's the first thing after what I've just talked round about here that you see in this word, kotahitanga?
Ship.
Yes, correct. So straight away you have the suffix ship, or that notion of ship, and then that tells you that there's another word here which is really the root word, which is the word kotahi. What does kotahi mean? And if at any time you're like, I don't know, MāoriDictionary.com or .co.nz.
Is it like
One.
oneness? Like
Yes.
one
Yep.
community? Like one
Yes. Keep going. Thesaurus
people?
right now.
Like not people, like, I don't know.
Yeah, you
like
do.
this-
You're just trying to think what are the words to express what I know instinctively oneness
Like kind of
actually
like
is.
one, I don't know, one heart, kind of
Yes.
like one purpose maybe?
Yes.
I don't know. That's,
So unity of purpose?
yeah,
See.
there we go.
You
Unity.
knew.
Unity.
Yeah, okay, so that's what kotahitanga is. And when you are in a hapu and iwi and people have been woven together, you experience kotahitanga, oneness of purpose. So cool. We've got some words in our little kitty now. Now, I am going to get you to chat in groups of 3, 3 and 4 about what I'm about to write up. This is a timeline and I'm going to pop up some years in order from ages ago to fairly recently, and then I'm going to pop some words up here, events, and then I want you to see if you can kind of match those up just by talking from where you are, where you think you would put those things on the timeline. Okay, so we're going to go from the year 1000, what do you call it now, AD or CE, whatever you prefer, and then we're going to go forward in kind of like 100-year lots.
What's CE?
Common era.
Common era, there you go. It's a,
Oh wow,
it's
yeah.
kind of like, because people are like, BC is about Christ and Anno Domini is like after the year of our Lord. Let's just move Jesus out of it and just call it CE, Common Era. So it's actually taking away Jesus from
Yeah, common era.
dates. Yeah. Yeah, you knew that. Yeah. Okay, so 1400, 1500. So all your historians in the room.
I was born then.
Oh yeah.
Explains the
You
wisdom.
look
Ready
really
to
good.
for your age.
Yeah.
What can I
Working
say?
for you.
Thanks.
Nivea.
Okay, so you've got that timeline, 1000 to 2000, 1,000 years, and now I'm going to write these things down. Have a chat with your mates, and let's see which group can kind of place them as